Look, what more do we know about the probes into Morgan Stanley?
Yeah, more and more details are starting to emerge. So one thing seems clear, Morgan Stanley is definitely the focus in some ways of these Justice Department investigators. And the sense is that pretty much, the company, which is basically the biggest bank in this sector for block trading, is basically being asked, a lot of employers are being asked to hand over their communications. So we understand that one employer in particular, Power Passy, who was sort of at the, real center of this, he is now being put on leave. But I would say the probe kind of does go way beyond Morgan Stanley, so it's hitting other banks. You've seen Barclays, Goldman all hit with these requests for information, and even on the other side of the trades, the hedge funds, the fund managers. So it's a very, very broad investigation, and I guess the question for me is, where these questions go. Does it lead to sort of legal cases or fines or penalties, etc.?
Tom, if we talk about the culture on Wall Street, one's got to ask the question, how is it allowed such activity to slip through the net? And what is Morgan Stanley, what is Morgan Stanley fade?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite detail of the whole story from our colleagues in New York. Is apparently that is a term in the market for when the trades, your share prices fall before you make a big block trade. So it would be disparaged as, oh, that's the Morgan Stanley fade, which for me was fascinating because, what that does imply is, there's been some kind of trading before the block trade, so information is leaked in some way. So for me, that gives a very clear sense of why investigators are looking at that. And, on the culture thing, it's, I guess it was ever thus, right? But it's another sort of blow for Wall Street's reputation in the wider economy.
Absolutely. It goes back to perhaps some of the reminiscent investigations in LIBOR, etc., and about how people communicate with one another in a marketplace and regulation, and what is that?